Hi, 7th and 8th graders. It's Mrs. Ools. I'm here in my empty classroom wishing that you were here and wishing that this could be different, but we're going to make the best of it, and you guys are going to keep learning and make sure that you remember everything that you've learned so that you're ready for next year. And so what I tried to think about when I was deciding what you guys could work on during this time, the things that I like kids to be really good at whenever they start pre-algebra and when they start Algebra 1. And the things that I came up with were integer operations. Your integers are your positives and your negatives, okay? So working with integers. The second thing that I came up with was being able to solve two-step equations, and that includes combining like terms and using the distributive property. So those are the things that we're going to focus on for the next few weeks. So we're going to start with integer operations, because if you don't understand your positives and your negatives, then that makes solving equations difficult. Okay, so I want to start today. We're going to work on, well, let me explain to you first how I see all of this working for us. Today is Monday. This is the Monday video. And so we'll go over some guided practice. All that you need to have is pencil and paper. So you need to be able to watch a YouTube video and you need to be able to write stuff down on a piece of paper. You're going to follow along with me while we do some guided practice, and then I will give you some independent practice problems that you'll do on your own. If you want credit, if you weren't happy with your grade on the last day of school, way back in the olden days, you know, before spring break and before all this, if you weren't happy with your grade on that last day of school, then this is your chance to improve your grade. The policy that we're using is a no-fault policy, which means that this isn't anyone's fault. So your grade should not suffer at all. Your grade will not go down no matter what. If you want your grade to go up, this is actually a great opportunity for you. So you can send me your work. I'll tell you the deadline to send it to me. You can take a picture of it and go onto the school webpage and email it to me, or you can, a lot of you I tried to add on Facebook, and I'm still working on that. You can go onto like Facebook Messenger and send a picture of it to me that way. Or if you need to, you can contact me and we'll set it up to where you can send me a text to my phone. Just take a picture of your work and send me a screenshot of it. So lots of ways that you can get this turned in. And the only thing that you'll need is your YouTube video, and you need a pencil and paper to do your work. Okay. So we're going to start today and Wednesday with adding and subtracting integers. Okay. When you're adding and you're subtracting, the best way that I can explain it to you, the most helpful way, is to think on a number line. Okay. Now you don't necessarily want to have to touch a number line every single time. We've got to get out of that habit, but you can think on a number line without actually touching it. So I made you a number line up here. I drew a number line with just 0. Okay. Because we're just going to think of where we're going, the directions that we're moving on the number line. Okay. And you guys know on a number line that to the right we have all our positives and to the left we have all of our negatives. Okay. The other thing that's helpful whenever you're solving an addition or a subtraction problem with integers is to think of, you've heard math problems called number sentences, and that's exactly what they are. It's like a sentence. And so you have to think of it, it starts from the left and you read to the right. Okay, so if you're struggling with this, because I know some of you are struggling, which is why I picked this to start with. If you're struggling with this, try reading it out loud to you. I know there's nobody around to listen to you because you're all by yourself. So read this out loud to yourself. This says -5 plus 7. You read it from left to right. Read it as it is. So -5 plus 7. And what this tells you, this is the starting place. So if you're thinking on a number line, you know that you're starting at -5. And then this is telling you which direction you're moving. So obviously subtraction tells us that we're moving backwards. Addition tells us that we're moving forward. So what this sentence is telling us we start at -5, we move forward 7. Okay, so if you think of a number line and you're starting at -5 and you're moving forward 7. So here's -5, okay, and you're moving forward 7. That's going to jump you 5 jumps just to get to 0, okay? And then ask yourself how many more jumps. We're doing 7. So then we would have to do 2 more. So we would end up 2 into the positive, okay? So starting at 5, moving forward 7, and we're going to land at 2. So the answer to -5 plus 7 would be 2. Okay. Look right here. This one, if I read it out loud to myself, it says 8 minus 16. So remember, this is telling you where you're starting. Okay. This is telling you your starting point. And then this is telling you what direction you're moving and by how much. So we're starting at a positive 8. So we're starting somewhere over here, and we're moving backwards 16. So if you're starting at 8 and you're moving back 16, you know that it's going to take you back past 0 and into the negatives. By how much? Well, this was a jump of 8, so then I've got to go another 8, so I would land at -8. Okay. This one right here says -7 plus 13. So remember, the sentence is telling us that we're starting at -7. We're starting at -7. This tells us we're moving forward by 13. So we're starting at -7. We're moving forward 13. So if you think about that, if you're starting at -7 and you're going forward 13, well, this is going to be a jump of 7. So then you know, if you know 7 and 6 is 13, you know you're going to have to go 6 more, and you're going to end up on the positive side at 6. Okay. So the answer there would be 6. Now, this one here looks a little bit different. And another thing that I want you to get used to, you're going to have to train your brain. When you see two signs, I'm talking about this one right here. When you see two signs sitting side by side, this says 4 plus -3. I want you to get in the habit of rewriting the problem. Just rewrite it underneath. When you see two signs sitting directly side by side, right here, we have a plus and a minus, a positive and a negative. So I'm going to circle those. Okay. If the two signs that are sitting side by side are a plus and a minus, that means that they disagree. Okay. Disagreeing is bad. That's negative. Okay. So these two signs disagree, which means that we're going to rewrite it with one sign, and it's going to be a negative sign. So this would actually be rewritten as 4 minus 3. Then it's an easy problem that we've known since we're in first grade. 4 minus 3 is 1. Okay. Same thing here. I've got 2. If I read this problem left to right, it's 8 plus -12. I've got two signs sitting side by side. I want to take care of that and rewrite it. It's a positive and a negative sitting side by side, so they disagree. They're not friends. So I'm going to rewrite it with just a negative sign. 8 minus 12. Okay, so this tells me I'm starting at 8. I'm moving back 12. So if I'm starting over here at 8 and I'm moving backwards 12, that's going to take me 4 onto the negative side. So I'm going to land at -4. Okay, 12 minus 8 is 4, but 8 minus 12 is -4. See how that's working? Okay, right here, we've got another one that has two signs side by side. If I read this out loud to myself, it says -5 plus -10. Okay, these two signs right here that are side by side, we want to rewrite this. Okay, so a positive and a negative sign sitting side by side, those disagree. So we're going to just rewrite it with a negative sign. So -5 minus 10. Okay, this is different than what we've seen. This is a different situation than what we've seen so far. Because if this, remember what I said, you start -5 minus 10. So our starting point is -5. So we're starting here in the negatives already. We're starting at -5. Now, the minus sign, the subtraction sign, tells me that we're moving backwards. So we're moving further negative. We're combining up two negatives here because we started at -5, then we move further back by 10. Okay, so if we start at -5 and move back by 10, we're going to land at -15. All right, think of this as combining up two negatives. All right, so we end up with -15. And if we're combining up two negatives, we know that a 5 and a 10 together is 15. So a -5 and a -10 together is a -15, right? So same situation here. We've got -6 minus 15. So we're starting at -6. This tells us that we're moving backwards 15. So if you think of the number line, we're starting at -6, and I'm not going to I'm not going to draw it on here. But if I'm thinking I'm starting at -6 and I'm moving back 15, I'm combining up two negatives. So if I ask myself, what is 15 and 6? Combining them up, I get 21. So a -6 and -15 more means that I'm at -21. Okay? Remember, read the problem to yourself like a sentence, and then ask yourself what the movement on the number line would be looking like. Okay? This one right here, the first thing that you see, we've got two signs side by side. We've got a positive and a negative sign side by side. -3 plus -6. So the first thing I want to do is I want to rewrite this. The positive and the negative sign, they don't agree. So I'm going to rewrite it with just a negative sign. -3 minus 6. And then if I think about the number line, this means I'm starting at -3 and I'm moving backwards 6. So I'm combining up two negative. I'm going more negative. I'm going further into the negatives. So -3 and then 6 more negative would land me at -9. Because 3 and 6 is 9. So -3 and -6 is -9. Okay, I'm going to pause you for a minute so I can give you some new problems. Make sure you're ready to write down some more example problems. Okay, a few more examples and then I'll give you some practice problems. Again, remember I told you I want you to train your brain whenever you see two signs sitting side by side, we need to rewrite the problem. So here we've got two negative signs that are sitting side by side. And remember I told you a positive and a negative don't agree, so that's negative. Well, when you have a negative and a negative, those do agree. That means if you're starting at 4, you're going backwards, and then you're turning around again, you're going back again forwards. Okay, so the negative sign and the negative sign side by side agree, which makes it positive. So we're going to rewrite it as 4 plus 7. Okay, 4 plus 7, easy. We've got 11. Okay, this next one, -6 minus -14. There's two negative signs sitting side by side. So I want you to circle that because we're going to have to rewrite that. The two negative signs, those agree, that's positive. So -6 plus 14. Don't skip this rewriting part, please. Okay, so -6 plus 14. If you think of a number line, you're starting at -6, you're going forward 14. Okay, so 14 minus 6 is 8. That means that we're going a jump of 6 and then another jump of 8. Okay, you've got to think about what pairs up with 6 to make it 14. So -6 plus 14 is going to land you over here in the positives at 8. All right, we're going to rewrite this one. -12, these two negative signs make a positive, plus 20. So I've rewritten it's -12 plus 20. So think about that. You're starting here at -12. Your movement is forward by 20. So what pairs up with 12 to make it 20? That's an 8. So if I'm at -12 and I'm going 20 jumps forward, I'm going to land over here at positive 8. Okay? Because it took me 12 jumps just to get to 0 and then 8 more jumps past it. Okay? Here, we've got two signs side by side. A positive and a negative. They disagree, so I'm going to rewrite it with a negative sign. 9 minus 17. It means I'm starting at 9, moving backwards 17. So if I'm starting over here at 9, and I'm moving back 17, that means I'm going to move back 9 just to get to 0. Well, what pairs up with 9 to make it 17 is 8. So I'm going to land over here at -8. Okay. Here, I don't have any signs that are sitting side by side. These two negative signs, they're not sitting side by side, so I'm fine. This says -10 minus 4. So starting point is -10. So we're starting here at -10. This tells us we're moving backwards by 4. So -10 and then back 4 means that I'm making it more negative. I'm going further into the negative. So I'm at -10 and I'm going 4 more further into the negative. So I'm going to land at -14. Last one. We've got two signs that are sitting side by side. These two negative signs that are sitting side by side, I'm going to have to rewrite it. And I'm going to rewrite that as a plus, as a positive sign. So I've got -5 plus 2. Okay, so -5 plus 2 means I'm starting at -5 and I'm only moving 2 jumps forward. So if you think about that, that means you're still going to be staying over in the negatives. You didn't even get enough jumps forward to make it over into the positives. You're at -5. You go 2 little jumps forward. Where are you going to be at? You're going to be at -3. Okay. Okay, I've got to try to cut my video short. Remember, if you would like credit for this, have it to me, a picture to me by Tuesday, let's say at midnight Tuesday night. So today is Monday. Have your work, a picture of it done. Okay, you'll get credit. Mistakes are proof that you're trying, so you get credit for trying. All right. I miss you guys, and I will have another video back up for you on Wednesday, okay?